yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Buggy in the middle of the show. Ah, nice. We're all almost same place then. Yeah. Again, we could. Hip it. Yeah. Well, the old crawler. Oh, Mordecai. Oh, Justice Light. That's the one. Yeah. Yeah, I've not gotten back to there yet. So yeah, they just went into the he and the team just went into the Vanquisher, Club Vanquisher. Yeah. Go to the Naga. Oh my god, that old plan, like they just got in, and it's like, oh my god, this is just utter chaos. We had no clue, man. Oh god, I love it. Yeah, he killed me. Oh yeah, yeah. And of course, yeah, Prepotente being there, just like, oh god, oh, I'm so lonely. Like, oh, buddy, come on, man. Oh yeah, no, I know. I love. Yeah, he was a pain in the butt, but and it's one of those things. I'm like, yeah, he's a kid. Like, just like Donut's a kid. They're not. They're like, they literally have been sentient for a matter of weeks. Well, you add up the days. I mean, it's been about a month or so, because there's a number of days on each floor, and so it's like 6 days and 10 days and 12 days or whatever else. And so when you add it all up there, I think it's been like 2 months. Yeah. Yeah. He and Donut have gotten like put in timeout or whatever, or put in like stasis for 3 weeks. So I'm like, oh, or for a week or so. I'm like, oh crap. So it's always amazing to me that as far advanced as they are, with the time they've lost. like yeah. Well, the Naga, so the Naga has, that's what they're doing right now, is going into Club Vanquisher to kill the Naga. So, they kill, King Rust is dead, but Stalwart's still there. Oh man, freaking what's his name? The cookbook author that only made, it was the Gargoyle who blew up the tank and everybody around him. Oh god. Well, that was really, remember the guy that basically uh, he like there was a story where he was a bird, like a woman's bird, and he got a pet biscuit and turned into a gargoyle, and then the gargoyle couldn't sing anymore, and then he lost his person, and then so basically, but he was a tank driver, so he basically overloaded the tank and blew up the entire army around him. Oh my god, man! Yeah, being an actual, he was a quick author. He just didn't put any entries in. Yeah, like that's that one. Oh god, so it's such a. Oh yeah, like when he first met Tippett and Tippett like hugged him and called him brother. I'm like, oh man, like Carl. Yeah, yeah, no, I remember that. I know what's coming up here because I know Milk's thing is in the Vanquisher. So yep, yeah, I'll say do it. Yep, yep. Hello and welcome to the Double Tanker Tavern. I am Jim, aka Argent Wind, and we are here for DM&D. And tonight we are talking about, well, Shadowrun. There's been some talk about it on the server a little bit, and it happens to be one of my favorite games and my favorite settings. In fact, I got the T-shirt. Uh, um, and I thought we would take some time every now and then to like, showcase a new system, one people may not have played much of or have heard of, but haven't really delved into it a little bit. And so we talk a little bit more deep dive into how the system and the setting works. And so first off, I'll get into my experience with Shadowrun here in a little bit there. But Nans, I know you've played a little bit and looked into a little bit there. So
Yeah.
what's sort of been your experience so far?
So my experience with Shadowrun's been very minimal, maybe a year of playing completely.
Sure.
But for me, the funnest part of Shadowrun was building my character. I know
Yeah.
it's stressful because let's face it,
Sure.
Shadowrun is ridiculously hard to figure out how to build your character. But puzzle
Yeah.
piecing your character, for me, is the best way of making your character the way you want to make it. It's better than
Hmm.
Pathfinder, it's better than D&D. It is just customize your character how you want it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you like mid-maxing. That's where you want to mid-max, right?
Yeah.
Because whew,
Yeah, and there's online you can find tools for every edition of Shadowrun. So there's a tool called Chummer, which is basically a online character builder for Shadowrunner, and it will take every source book, every bit of gear, every piece of cyberware, every possible magic item and thing you can find there, and you can basically build your entire character from the ground up with that thing there. It's a lot. It can spend a lot of time in it. Um, but before we get too far into that, let's kind of step back and talk a little about the system here. So and the basics of the setting. First off, Shadowrun is a cyberpunk game. It is at heart a cyberpunk, and so that whole thing of like dystopian future with mega corporations and technology where people are replacing with cyberware in their body and they've got little implants in their heads and all kinds of things like that.
mm-hmm,
Then you throw in the kitchen sink for magic. And so you have dragons, and you've got people that are elves and dwarves and trolls, and you've got people that can cast spells and summon spirits and everything else. And so you're taking this like dystopian cyberpunk future with this crazy magic and mushing them together into what shouldn't work, but really, really does. Um, so the idea of Shadowrun is that the basics of it is that at one point, as corporations were on the rise and essentially becoming more and more powerful, controlling everything, not not too far off from reality at sometimes here, but the idea of it at one point, as um, a big portion of this is the Native Americans, and
mm-hmm,
The Native American nations sort of pushed back and tried to take control of their territory. As the government started to sort of get weakened and corporate influences were sort of taking over,
mm-hmm.
Native Americans rose up and kind of bit of a revolution and took over. But in order to do that, they did a very, very specific thing, which they called the Great Ghost Dance, which, if you know anything about Native American nations, Native American lore, it wasn't exactly true. But the idea is they made this big, big ritual, and in the process, opened a rift to astral space, and a dragon came out. Um, that sort of sparked the whole thing of magic flooding back into the world, and you had uh, the what they call G Day or Goblinization Day, where suddenly a significant portion of the population suddenly turned into um, elves, dwarves, trolls, orcs, all these other like fantasy like races, and it was all just sort of a physical change to them. Um, but it was a massive thing of all of a sudden parents have their child or their like husband and wife. Husband turns into a troll all of a sudden, falls unconscious, his body goes through a change, and boom, now he's a 8.5 foot giant muscle bound uh um horned troll. And um so the chaos of that, on top of all the dystopian aspects there, sort of moved society along. And as things kind of progressed, you had corporations stepping in and doing what they can to sort of capitalize and or take over things. Um, and you had the whole cyberpunk aspect of cyberware being a thing, the computer, the Matrix, as they not the Matrix from the movies. Shadowrun actually predates those movies. um, the Matrix being sort of the analog to the internet, and so the idea of the Matrix being the internet, and so people can use their cyberdecks to hack into the internet and do all kinds of crazy things. Um, and so you have this whole thing of this setting happening, these mega corporations starting up there, the Big Eight, Big Ten, depending on which setting you're on there, the Ares Corporation, which specializes in weapons systems and defense contracts, and Renraku, and specializing in computer systems and cyberware. And of course, um, the most fun one to mess around with is Cedar Krupp, who basically Cedar Krupp are sort of they make household items and everything you would use in your house and appliances and everything else, but all sorts of other things they delved into, and they're run by an actual dragon. The Dragon Loafer takes over this corporation and runs the corporation like his dragon's horde. Um, so that's the kind of thing you're dealing with here. And so what is a Shadowrunner? Well, a Shadowrunner is a person who does jobs for the corporations. They are have special skills and abilities and gear and contacts and everything else, and they're hired to sort of do corporate espionage, steal things, kidnap people, um, and those things are called shadow runs. Essentially, they're shadow operatives that are hired by corporations to go and do things against other corporations or whatever. And so they are expendable resources that can sort of like do things, and they don't have to take accountability for them because they don't actually work for the company.
Hmm.
Um, so that's the kind of gist of what we're looking at here in terms of the world and how it works. And so you have your character roles instead of classes like D&D or other things like that. You've got your combat focused street samurai, who are usually cybernetic enhancements. You've got your decker, the guy who's basically able to hack into the matrix and gather information and break into computer systems and all kinds of stuff like that, disable security and everything. You've got your riggers, who are sort of like deckers, but they specialize in vehicles. They're your wheelmen. They can use drones to kind of get around there and everything else, but they're basically have a vehicle control rig. They can basically mind link with a machine, a vehicle of some kind there, and do stuff. And then you get into the fun ones, the spellcasters, the mage and the shaman, which are just two different traditions from the same kind of thing, but they can actually cast spells and summon up spirits. And then you have the adepts, which are sort of like magic light. They can enhance their bodies in some ways. They think of like martial artists who could have like special abilities, but they use magic to do things instead of cyberware. Um, and so roles like the face being the person who's often the talking, who will try to like talk their way past the guards in some kind there, or the person who has the contacts to help people out. Um, and so those are some of those archetypes they call them, rather than classes. Those archetypes of different types of characters you can play. And while Nan's mentioned the character creation being as crazy as it is, one of the things about is every edition of Shadowrun comes with pre-made archetypes, which have all the stats and basic gear you would need to play that character in that role. So the bounty hunter and the combat mage and the radical eco shaman, occult investigator. And so all these guys have like special abilities and skills and gear to help them fill a role. And so you can literally just grab one of these and go. As a first time player, I highly recommend that. In fact, it's just like take an archetype, write down the stats, maybe tweak it a little bit there, give them a name, and off you go, ready to play. But the whole thing is that um, that's sort of the basics of what the characters are. You're going to have a different race, a troll, a human, an orc, an elf, whatever. Um, so your skills, um, your qualities, which are kind of special abilities and anything else that, and then your gear, which includes what you put into your body, like cyberware.
What
So,
did you play?
uh, okay, so the character I played the most
Hmm.
in a fairly long running campaign was a combat mage named Rook. I had a whole backstory for him around being part of this mercenary group called the Chess Club, that basically had a person for each piece of the chessboard, and each team, essentially each monarch, had a special function. So the White Queen was um, kind of the more upfront get things done, where the White King was kind of a hacker, sort of behind the scenes gathering stuff there. The Black King was sort of the resource heavy. They had all the contacts and skills to get things, and the Black Queen was like sort of the Black Ops, like special forces type things. And so my character was the White Rook, and as the at one point the mercenary company got betrayed as things happen. A lot of them got killed. They all ended up breaking up there, and so Rook became sort of his own a mercenary, more or less on his own.
Hmm.
um, I also played Bishop, who happened to be the
Oh no.
So, yeah. Um, but those were some of the main characters there. Now, my other characters I did have a couple cyber characters. I had one of my favorites who I never actually played. I made him to sort of tell stories with, and that was Clockwork Man. And Clockwork Man was literally a completely maxed out street samurai type character who basically had a lot of corporate contacts and knew a lot of things of how things worked. Had a lot of things, and so he was essentially a high-ranking security mercenary kind of person who had a lot of contacts and everything else. And so Clockwork Man was a good friend. Was one of my favorites there. And then sort of in the same vein, I had Joe Fixit, who was based on the Hulk. Like he was a troll who had special like cybernetic skin that made him even tougher than a troll would normally be, and he was huge, but he was also a doctor. And so he was like a street doc in the body of a 9 foot troll who could just beat the crap out of anything that got too close to him.
Very nice.
Um, so how about you? What are some of your favorites?
So I
Or what would you play?
played a summoner.
Mm-hmm.
She was an orc. And because I was really into I'm going to make the battle medic good in Shadowrun. Those of you who know, you know, that's not a thing. It,
Nothing.
nope, it's not a thing.
Be a
Uh,
be a bear totem shaman, yeah, because you're gonna be way better off.
that's what I was, yes. And
Yep, yep.
90, and I got stupid lucky on one of my rolls. I was able to summon a fire elemental, bind him to me permanently. So
Nice.
it was one of those things. We had that contract. I rolled really well. He liked it. We hung out together. So he was always around. So anytime we got stuck and I went, oh, there's a room full of bad guys, go have fun. I don't need to go in there. DM, you get to figure
Yep,
it out, right? Because,
yep.
fire elementals are, especially since I cast it believe he was a sixth level fire elemental.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I rolled real
Nice.
good. I rolled real, but
Nice.
I just had fun. Just like, yeah, the main bulk of the army, leave it to me. You guys go pick off all the other things and go do the little
Mhm.
subterfuge things from behind the scenes and go hack into the computers. I got the main armies, and at the same
Sure.
time, I was still remembering I'm trying to play that battle medic that I'm insisting will work in Shadowrun.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Unfortunately, 5th edition healing was terrible. They nerfed it and gimped it so badly from previous editions there that the healing spells, healing items, that were terrible. You could not heal in combat, which was really, really a problem.
hmm
That was the biggest weakness of 5th edition. It's fun.
I
But
could
yeah,
heal you in the sense of like, here's a stem pack and go have fun,
yeah.
but we all know what happens when you have too many of those, right?
Yes, you get in real trouble.
You do. So like I had to balance who I was giving a stem pack to, who I was giving this particular drug to or that drug to. I
Yeah.
literally became the druggie of the group because that's what I was always
Yeah.
looking for.
It's all you can use. And
Yep,
you're not actually healing them, you're just making them ignore the pain so they can keep going until they actually like fall down
yep,
completely dead.
yep.
Yeah,
We did
yeah.
we did deck out like we bought and built a mobile medic unit. So we had like
Nice.
a bed in there with a faceted first aid medic kit, the really big one. So like
Sure.
while we were on transport back home, I could be fixing you up on basically the ambulance bay and
Yep.
getting you back to working condition. But like again, that was my stubbornness of going, I'm going to make healing good in
Yep.
fifth edition Shadowrun, and
Yeah.
quickly found out
It's not a thing. Yeah.
not a thing.
So Shadowrun has many editions, and so if you're looking into it there, the current edition I believe is sixth.
Yes.
Um, and I have not messed with six. I actually have played one, two, three, four, and five. I have run in three and four. Pretty much where I did most of my running was in third and fourth edition.
hmm
The main difference is each book that comes out, the basic rules are the same. The basic mechanics are the same. Um, but what happens is they update the tech to be more in line with what it should be for the future.
hmm
Um, and they update sort of the history of what's going on in the world. So, what mega corporations are in power, which ones have done what things, what crazy, big, massive world event has happened. Um, it's now something else. And so, each edition sort of like is it not a major change to the rules, but there are tweaks. Um,
That is
Mages were hard to play. They literally like would cast two or three spells and fall unconscious unless you had the right gear and abilities to keep a mage up and functional in first edition. Um, in second edition, they made it a little bit better. It was more possible, and I played Rook a lot in second edition, and then played him also in third edition as well. And third was probably the most, I think, overall the most balanced of the editions. Third kind of hit that really sweet spot of like you're powerful, but you're not overly powerful. The character archetypes were fairly balanced all the way around there. Fourth edition, they sort of compiled a lot of new things in there, and they really made a jump in the technology. And what I mean by that is the main thing of the Matrix and the cyberdecks, which cyberdecks used to be like actual like desktop computers. You would carry around this bulky
hmm
thing, and so fourth edition said, no, your cyberdeck is a phone. It's a cell phone, and the world has augmented reality where basically you just walk down the street and you can just if you have a vision implant of some kind like that or special glasses, you just see things that pop up. When you look at a store window, you'll see like the obviously the emblem there. What specials? What are the sales going on there?
hmm
Sort of a look whatever. You can just sort of like scroll through that, like just looking at the store. Um, Walk to a restaurant, you see what the special of the day is. Um, and so it really made the world more like what we would expect the future to be instead of being this weird sort of like Matrix the Matrix being sort of the alternate reality you jacked into and then went into this weird extra space. Now that still exists in fourth edition and after there because that's a kind of a major thing. But the idea that augmented reality was sort of the Matrix light, which you would just see moving around there. Um, that's sort of the main thing there, and like the weapons were mostly the same there. The Ares Predator being the premier pistol, the Panther Assault Cannon being one of the big, as in the words of my favorite, the Smiling Bandit, grade A bang bang. um, and it gets us into part. What makes the world so fun is that in all the old source books, I'll just pull one up here. Have like in the rules, you would have not so much this one. Previous edition. Let's go back to one more back to here. Yeah, we'll go back to one of the old books here. So Street Champion catalog there, which is all sorts of like you had the main rule book, and then the extra rule books would come out there with all the expanded rules, like the like more things there. And so for each of the items in here, you would have what they called Shadow Talk, which was various people. So the idea is this is an online catalog. Is how this was produced here. And so you'd have actual people with names posting comments about it, and having all arguments with each other sometimes, and kind of like, oh no, you're stupid. That's not how that works. Yeah, it is. This is great. No, it's really not worth it. This other thing over here is much more worth it. And so you actually get to know like Steel Lynx and Fiddler Man and all these guys with different names. Which, if you ever read the Shadowrun books, the whole series of novels, and there's like 20 or 30 of them, um, those were characters in the book. So you'd actually see the characters in the books making comments in the rule books. And it was just so much fun. I mean, Smiling Bandit, like I said, was one of my favorite there. And a friend of mine, one of my best buds, we actually made our characters that we used to make our own Shadow Talk for things that we talked about there. We were talking about doing sort of an online magazine for Shadowrun. And so Clockwork Man was the guy that I did the most Shadow Talk with. But anyway, so that's sort of like the depth of the world. Like every rulebook that came out there would have all sorts of new world building things and these characters, and it was a lot of fun just to kind of read. Like I can say, these are the best rulebooks to read because they're so fun with all the weird comments and things that pop up in there, and all the little like hints and tips and comments from different Shadowrunners out there. Um, but. So, um, basic mechanics of the system. Basically, it's a D6 system.
Mm-hmm.
Your ranking in a skill tells you how many dice you roll, and it's a success based thing where your basic things is a 5 or a 6 on the dice you roll is success. The more successes you get, the better you do. And you have certain gear or abilities that might increase the range of your success. So instead of a 5 or 6, it might be a 4, 5, or 6. Some situations may make it more difficult and you only succeed on a 6. So once you determine your successes, you can use those to essentially accomplish your tasks or your actions or shoot the person or cast your spell. And that's sort of how that works there. And there's various mechanics that allow you to enhance that. There's the idea of edge, which is sort of like luck where you get some re-rolls. You have things like qualities which can modify your abilities and make you easier to do some things or make it more challenging to others, but it gives you some extra points to do other things with. And so that's sort of the basics of the characters. Is sort of the basic mechanic of everything, which is not a very difficult mechanic, and it's been very flexible. You can really kind of like you really have a chance to kind of like just make a test, see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Use this skill, see how it goes. It's not like I have to have this exact skill for the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Make an agility test. Because you don't have the skill you needed for this here, make an agility test, but you'll need to get a few more successes because you don't actually have the skill. So that kind of thing that can happen there.
Yeah, mine
Um,
was
yeah,
it was taking those karma points and dumping them in
hmm
where they need to be,
yeah,
right? Because that's
yeah,
essentially your ability points. Where are you putting your ability points?
yeah. So
And
your experience, yeah.
yeah,
So your
yeah.
building points, yeah, yeah.
So I would take my karma points and since at level 1, I grabbed all the summoning things. Like there's 3 trees in the summoning tree in order to be able to get the bonuses of having that as a summoner, right? And
hmm
and the next thing I wanted was the first aid stuff, so I built out the first aid stuff. But after that, we realized fairly quickly we don't really have anybody who drives a car. We got a guy who can build it. He can't drive it.
Yeah,
He went Street Samurai, which was the
hmm
first book you said, but like he couldn't drive it. And I
yeah.
went,
Having it,
I'm gonna attempt to, and I picked up what is it, ice sheet? Yes, because it was really dumb. I was like, why would I build a sheet of ice? You can knock that down. Well, I decided to use it a little bit more creatively. And I put it on the ground. So when we had a
yep.
car chase, guess who hit some black ice and just literally like
hmm
normal cars would do?
Off the road.
We made the sharp right hand
Love it.
turn and they did not follow us. So like, they just kept
Yep.
going straight. But, it was one of those the DM said, "All right, yeah, but you're in a moving vehicle. It's going to be a little bit tougher. So instead of rolling 8d6s, you're only going to roll 6." And I went,
Sure.
"Hey, whatever, floats your boat. Like the spell count
Yep.
goes off whether it lands where I want to or not, the spell is going to work, right?
Sure.
It's just
But the
where
idea is that maybe the ice isn't a perfect sheet. It's got like patches of ice, and so it's going
exactly."
to be.
Mhm.
He may not just completely spin out, but he might lose control a little bit. So
Yep, that's what I liked
yeah,
the most about this system was when we talk about customizing our characters to what we want them to be.
yeah,
This system, in my personal opinion, does that the best. You can
yeah,
take even real life things, like if you're allergic to bees, you can take that and get extra karma points. However, please note that if your DM decides to throw bees inside the game, you're
yep.
running for your life because EpiPens don't work. Like, that's not a
Which
thing.
I'm gonna put it out there. If you're using that to get more points, I'm going to use it against you.
Hmm. Hmm.
Not every single turn, not
Right.
every single adventure, but it will come up, and it
It
will
will.
be a big problem.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
like
that's
yeah,
again a good DM will make the gameplay fun. And if you're going to take a ton of negative attributes so that you can have a bunch of extra karma points, that's the best way to balance it out,
mhm,
right? Is
yep,
knowing that your DM is going to come after you at some point
yeah,
because you can't just have free karma points.
yep. And so gameplay of Shadowrun is really the main thing. A Shadowrun is basically a heist of some kind. So think of playing a session, an adventure in Shadowrun is like a heist movie.
Mhm.
You're trying to gather the right resources, gather the information you need about the target, the thing you need to accomplish for who's ever hired you, and then getting in there and doing it. And then something is invariably going to go wrong. Something you didn't think about, something that the corporations have set up that you didn't find,
Mhm.
or just dumb luck. A guard happens to need to go to the bathroom and walks down the hall as you're trying to break into the closets where all the supplies are being stored. And so he comes around the corner and there he is. Now what do you do? Oh crap! Jump on him, take him down, shoot him with your silenced weapons, like knock him unconscious, drag him in, and hide him. Well, that's not going to come back to bite you down the road here because now there's a guard who's not going to show up, go back to his post,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
there's cameras around and
Mhm.
drones that walk by, the security drones that do sweeps and like, so it's all about like trying to like overcome those challenges that will arise. The DM is going to throw your way, and then trying to get out, get the thing you need, and survive. Depending on what you're up against. Um,
It's like the Italian Job, right? Like if anybody has seen that
exactly.
movie.
Yeah, Ocean's 11, Italian Job, all those heist movies. This is very much right in line with that, only with a lot more tech and throwing magic in as well.
Mhm.
So, which don't forget, the corporations have better tech than you. They have a
Right?
lot more resources, and they can also use magic. They have corporate mages on staff. They have like corporate security. And while your average guard isn't walking around with a full on wired reflexes 3 and a crazy like hyper gun link and like sensory enhancements there, um, they're going to have good gear. They're going to have decent guns. They may have a little bit of boosted reflexes or something, but so they're not going to be complete morons. But at the same time, there could be the guys who are in charge of security who are that good.
Mm-hmm.
And good luck when that guy rolls in and starts mowing down everyone with his crazy modded machine gun.
Mm-hmm.
That's
We often say this in D&D, it's okay to run away, but most D&D players
yes.
do not. In
Yeah.
Shadowrun, it's almost necessary.
Hmm.
If you
Yeah.
realize that you're in over your head, the GTFO is always a good
Yeah.
option.
And I will say, Shadowrun can be very, very deadly. Depending on which, so different editions had kind of dialed up and down, ramped up and down the deadliness of guns and how you took wounds and how you healed from damage. And every edition was different. I will say, first in general was just difficult all around. They had the difficulty ramped up to 11, and everyone was like way weaker than they should be. Second, they sort of brought it back in motion, but it was still sort of like you better have the right stuff or you're gonna get taken out.
Hmm.
Third was a good balance. Fourth sort of broke some mechanics and sort of had some problems. Fifth, they just ruined healing, so you couldn't heal anymore. So don't even bother.
Mm-mm,
Um,
mm-mm.
I never played sixth, um, but then there's another version of Shadowrun out there called Shadowrun Anarchy, and it's really Shadowrun light. The character creation is a lot easier. The dice pools are smaller in general. The mechanics are a lot more fast paced. Um, you don't have to have quite so like large number of pools and crazy things there. It's designed to be a faster paced, easier version of the game there. And I have run Shadowrun Anarchy, and it works well. It was much more approachable than full Shadowrun was. So if you're looking to dip into Shadowrun, check out Shadowrun Anarchy. I think you can actually get it online for free. Um,
Yeah, most of the
it's
Shadowrun
it
stuff is online for free
you
now.
can find older versions especially. The newest versions are not there. They're talking about a seventh edition now and another version to come out with. Like why? Um,
Because they
but the
love to
fact is that
torment
Shadowrun,
us.
yeah, well, it's one of them like, hey, here's a new thing. And part of the thing is that it's sort of like the thing comes out, everyone complains about the new mechanic or the new thing that they broke, and so they kind of dial it back, and so it's always that sort of like tweak the rules a little bit more to do something a little bit different. But yeah, I played in a fifth edition game where we realized that right off the bat it was so deadly because you got shot, you couldn't get healed. There was no getting up again once you got shot. So and like wounds in Shadowrun accumulate quickly, and you start taking more penalties and start taking. So suddenly,
Hmm.
because you got hit, you took a like a physical box of damage. You're now -1 to all your actions, and you take another shot, and now you're at -2 to all your actions, and you're at half speed, and just all these things. It just ramps up real quick there, and so you basically have to run. Um, it's it's not a good idea to stick around because if you're fighting against a corporation, they've got more guards, they've got
Hmm.
better
Hmm.
weapons,
Hmm.
they've got
And they
they're
will come
going to
at
take
you
you down.
with
Yes,
everything, right?
because that's their job.
It's not like,
Okay.
if you stand there and try to hold your ground, like you eventually pick them off. No,
Yeah,
no, because they're
yeah,
corporations, they can just hire more street thugs to come after you, gear them
yeah,
up, and then, they're waiting in the wing, just waiting to go, right?
yeah.
Run,
Um,
people.
And don't forget, they can just go to the pen and unleash the 6 hellhounds to chase you down, who are literally fire-breathing dogs, like Doberman-sized dogs that
Mm-hmm.
can breathe fire on you, and they're fast and they're mean, and they will just cook you alive. Like
Yep.
I, I almost wiped out an entire Shadowrun team with with 4 hellhounds because
Oof.
yeah, it was rough. And there's other and hellhounds are an average thing that corporations can throw at you.
Mm-hmm.
They can throw all kinds of things, including spirits and elementals and so yeah, it's it is an exercise in go until you have to run or like when things go bad, get out.
Right.
Um and you may have to take the loss. You may have to find out that you can't do it, and you got to report back to Mr. Johnson that I couldn't get the thing, and well, maybe you'll get another job, maybe you
Mhm.
won't.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll send a Shadowrun team to kill you because you know too much.
At this point, you might, right? Well,
Exactly.
so I often, because of my character being able to do what she did, I went in, what is it, the astral realm that they have?
Astral space. Yep.
Yes. So like
Yep.
I couldn't actually interact with the people while I was in there, but I
Hmm.
could bring myself to a part and then leave and come and then, come back and be able to do the thing. I could tack astrally because I had astral spells or however you wanted to say that.
Hmm.
I didn't
Yeah.
do it often because it didn't make
Yeah.
sense to me. It also sounded very broken. Like, okay, so I'm going to go into the astral realm and I'm going to attack you with these spells, but they don't actually hit you until I come back out,
Yeah. It's
which is
Yeah,
so
Astral
confusing.
Space shifted a lot over the different editions as well. There, what you couldn't do because yeah, things were broken. Like you just go in there. I can use a mana-based spell that doesn't do physical damage. It
Hmm.
does essentially spirit damage to you. Well, I'm in
That's what
astral
it was.
form, so I can blast the crap out of you, and it will kill you.
Yeah.
Like it'll just shred your mind and soul, or whatever you want to call it there,
Hmm.
and you just drop dead from something you can't see. Um, but there's really crazy things. Astral space was sort of like the magical equivalent of the Matrix.
Hmm.
Essentially, it was sort of this other realm of sort of like superimposed on ours. It was the realm of spirits. It was the realm of only magicians can see into it. Only full mages can sense it and see into astral space. And so, um, and there's like literally there are entire source books beyond the basic rules. There's entire source books for what you can do with magic. Um, and so originally the grimoire is basically a whole bunch of spells
Hmm.
and special things you can do, and a whole bunch of other creatures you can summon and enemies you can face, and it's a lot of fun. Magic was my favorite thing there. I think it was yours too. I loved the magic aspect of the game. Um,
I think I like that
uh,
more than trying to force myself to be a medic that doesn't exist. And once I gave up on that and just fully leaned into the fact that I was a magic person, the game became more fun. It also became more deadly for the DM because I was literally just wiping the floor
yeah.
with all of the things. So that's when,
Hmm.
we were introduced to hellhounds fairly quickly. I think we were like fourth level when he's like, that's it. I have to vamp
Yep.
this up. You guys are just too tough for me to not do something. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
It,
sometimes not killing your players is just as fun as killing your players, right?
yeah. I mean, the fact is that hey, you got caught on camera breaking into this place, and now
Mhm.
what do you do?
Mhm.
Uh, you you're a liability to the person that hired you now because you got
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
that's where adventures can kind of string along, where it's like now you have to basically clear your name or go back in and steal the evidence they have on you, or go and wipe the data logs or whatever you need to do.
Yep.
And that's where it's like, how do we pull this off so we're not going to be screwed for jobs in the future? Um, so
Mhm.
yeah, that's sort of like that's kind of the Shadowrun in a nutshell in terms of like the type of characters you are, the type of games you are. Now I will say power level can shift. I One of the campaigns I ran, it was in third edition, was entirely gang level. The characters were all lieutenants in a street gang in Detroit, and their missions were usually just defending turf, fighting off other gangs, trying to break into a warehouse and steal gear. And eventually, that whole thing ramped up to I actually created an entire gang war in Detroit with various gangs coming in, and they were trying to defend their territory. They had to go and recruit gang members.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that was the whole campaign, was basically trying to make their gang the toughest gang in Detroit. Um, and and just making enemies, making friends, um, making alliances, and how do they pull it off? And it was a lot of fun. It had a great time with it, and it was fun because they started off very low powered. I mean, they didn't have they had like maybe basic cyberware. They
Mhm.
had okay guns, no real armor, decent like crappy vehicles. Um, And
They
so their
roll
whole
up that
thing
stuff,
was
huh?
they had motorcycles, but they were tricked out cool ones. They also had like a they had like a I think the rigger had the rigger. He had a basic like level one control rig, enough that he could plug in and drive it. And that was about it. But it was like he basically had like the basic delivery van kind of thing. It was like no, wasn't tricked out. It wasn't armored. Didn't have weapons. It was just like he could just plug in and drive it around. Um,
It's a
but
getaway
eventually
vehicle.
they eventually or show up there and have the people unload out of the back, and
Hmm.
so it was kind of, and it was nondescript and didn't stand out very much, and so but that was the whole thing is that again but over the course of the campaign they found better weapons, they got some money to get some better
Hmm.
gear. They a couple of got a couple of cybernetic upgrades that were like ooh cool, and the spellcaster got a focus that was like oh this is really awesome, um
That's what I
and so
liked
uh,
most about the spell casting was
mhm,
just like in D&D, if you buy the spell, you have to purchase the spell. But what's different from D&D to Shadowrun in the purchase of like scrolls, you have to find somebody to teach you how to then cast the spell that you've just got acquired
mhm,
from, like you've got that spell, that's great, but you don't know how to cast it. So you got to go find somebody who knows how to cast that to teach you how to
mhm,
do it. And depending how much money you're going to shell out, it depends on the teacher that you get. Depends on how long it's going to take you to learn it.
mhm.
And in like that aspect,
Or
the same. Or you get the
or
potion.
you can find an astral entity
Yep.
in astral space who can then teach you, but now you need to do them services, and so
Uh
now
huh.
you're having to like bring your people in to kind of go and pay back this crazy astral being
Yep.
that's out here who taught you how to do this spell. Oh yeah, there's so many levels and so many cool things in this setting that you can go full magic route and everything else.
Hmm.
The trickiest part about that though is balancing, because the whole thing of like the Decker in in the Matrix doing things, the Mage in Astral Space doing his thing, and the thing about that that's really tricky is that the Decker is like he's literally doing things at the speed of thought. He's in a
Hmm.
computer and
Hmm.
he's thinking what he wants. And so, like, the Decker will get like four or five actions in the time when the real space, the outer, like normal space, was going, okay, I'm now punching the guy. And the Decker's done like 18 things by that point.
Hmm.
So it was a really tricky thing on how to balance that. And so, and same with astral space. I'm going to go into astral space and zoom along here. And so now I'm kind of in my own area that nobody else can deal with. My body's crumpled to the ground behind this crate over here, and I'm
Hopefully
off in
nobody
astral
finds
space.
it.
Hopefully, nobody finds it. Um, so there's a lot of balancing in that. So you kind of have to figure out how you want to balance that as a DM, as the players. And sometimes, a lot of times, what we did was we had the Decker in there being an NPC. So basically, they would sort of like, "Hey, we need this thing. You need to hack this door for us." And so I just basically when NPC makes a couple tests and go. Or in the first game I played in, we had a combat decker who was literally a street samurai decker who would basically just like, "Okay, we need this door open. One sec." And his action would be to basically like plug into the door and like see through like R2 in Star Wars, plug into the door and try to undo the door while the party's like waiting to get in or shooting the guys coming around the corner while he's trying to get the door open. So it's sort of that level of gameplay between
Hmm.
how you go there. Um, so I don't know if we've got anybody watching right now, but um, if you have played Shadowrun, please go ahead and throw us a comment there and some of your favorite things from Shadowrun. Um, and just some of your favorite stories, some of your favorite characters. Um, and if you're interested, obviously, I would say, yeah, go online. You can find copies of older copies of Shadowrun to try it out. Um, I recommend. I think overall the best balanced, most approachable version of the game is fourth edition, which is also the anniversary edition that came out. This is kind of like 4.5. The one thing you're not going to find in here, though, there's no paratroopering rules. There's no skydiving rules. You can buy a paraglider, you can buy a parachute, and in the description for the item it says, "Hey, check out the like to see how this works. Go to the rules for skydiving." There are no rules for skydiving. I've checked every single book I've checked online. They don't exist. Um, So
They
it was
meant
a bit of an
IRL.
oversight. Sure, yeah. What are the rules for skydiving? Okay, yeah. Um, so, but what I had to do, I had players who wanted to skydive into an enemy base, and they bought the gear. They had the rigger who could fly the helicopter over. They could jump out of the helicopter and go down
Mhm,
there and pop their parachutes and get into place there. But there were no rules for skydiving. So I basically on the fly just said, okay, make agility tests. And it's going to require this many successes. And if you blow it, you might twist an ankle. You might may take you might have to resist a physical wound
mhm,
as you crash into the ground, depending on how badly you do. And so uh, a lot of times you may have to make up things on the fly like that, where basically like there's no rules for this in the game. So have them do a basic test, set a difficulty for it, and see how they do. Which is true
mhm.
of any system, really. It's like you don't have to have a rule for everything. Pathfinder.
Like I said, I think it's the best customization
Yeah,
RPG that I have found that I have played that you can
yeah,
just customize and make things so much easier.
yeah.
Again, making it easier also makes it difficult to figure out how to incorporate all that stuff. So, but like,
Exactly.
you just, it's so much fun, guys. Give it a chance, see what it
Yeah,
does. You may not like it. And you know what? To tell you the truth, when I first started, first couple of sessions in, I'm like, dude, I don't get this. These rules are just like bonkers.
yeah.
What do you mean I have to roll 66? But if I want to try and edge it and make it harder, I could. What's an edge? Like it was not explained
Yeah,
very well.
yeah. I mean, it really requires someone who knows what they're doing to kind of like ease you into it. And so some basic tests, some basic operations. Your first run. So so I'll just gonna put this out here or there. The first adventure, Shadowrun, whatever. The first thing you run into there, it's sort of like the tavern brawl of D&D. It's called the Stuffer Shack. The Stuffer Shack is basically 7-Eleven in Shadowrun terminology there.
Hmm.
And so essentially it's you are in a Stuffer Shack there buying something and some gangers show up there and try to shoot up the place to rob it and have combat. like what do you do?
What do you
Um,
do?
or or hey, basic Shadowrun here. We need you to rob the Stuffer Shack and don't mind the troll with a huge shotgun behind the counter and the crazy hellhound chained up in the back room.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
so so it's kind of the kind of tone of game you're going to run. That can kind of determine that thing here, but the kind of the basic thing of like you're going to go and rob a place, or you're going to prevent a place from being robbed, depending on the kind of tone of the campaign you're going for. So again, it's start small, build your way up there, and like I said, if especially for brand new players, just use the archetypes in the book. Just have everyone pick an archetype there,
Mhm.
try it out. And the cool thing about that is that they don't like it, they can choose a different one next time. That guy goes off and somebody else joins the team, or because one thing about this, a lot of times teams are assembled by a third party, or maybe there's somebody who's the
Yep.
leader who says, "Hey, we need a decker." Oh, I know a guy. I'm going to go talk to my friend over here, and they come and join the party. We need a wheelman. I know a rigger. I'll go find a rigger. So the idea of assembling a party, assembling a team, can be different from adventure to event from run to run.
Mhm.
You can literally say, "This guy didn't work out. He's going to go off and do his own thing. Bring in somebody else." Um, and
You know,
that's kind of the idea there.
that's what I liked about Shadowrun too. At first, I thought we were the good guys, right? We're fighting against this corporation. And then as we started getting into it more, I went, guys, why are we stealing health potions? Like, who are we stealing this from? Well, this big corporation, but who are they giving the health potions to,
Yeah,
right?
these guys are selling them to like clinics. We're stealing supplies that they're giving to clinics.
Right? Like, so if they're
Yeah,
giving it to normal average day people, um, Aren't we the
We're the
bad guys
we're the
now?
bad guys here, yeah. And there is that sort of like, yeah, I mean, and it comes down to like as you develop as a team, as you kind of develop a code,
Hmm.
you might say, hey, we're not taking these kinds of jobs, and um, like we're not. There's a term they call wet works. We're not doing wet works jobs. That's where they basically say you once you go in and kill someone. Like, no, we're not doing wet work. Um, and
Right.
it can be a code for you guys. And so you're using all non-lethal weapons, using taser weapons and stun only spells.
Hmm.
Um, and that's an avenue you can take. So it's it really has the flexibility to be what you want it to be. And sometimes you get pulled into something you didn't want to be in. And how do you deal with that? So
Right.
Um, and so it has that sort of like anti-hero Robin Hood aspect that I mean, John Wick is a kind of a early precursor to a Shadowrun kind of thing there. Of course, the Matrix. Uh, any site, any cyberpunk, thing there is sort of the right, it's the right feel, but throw magic into the mix.
Hmm. Hmm.
So With and as a DM for Shadowrun here, don't forget that it is not just one thing. There's more to it. You can have that crazy street samurai with a giant machine gun with a totem wearing like Native American looking shaman guy summoning up spirits to go attack you while he's blasting you with fire. Like
Hmm.
on the same team. And the same for your team. You can have that sort of like I got this like rat shaman person, or like me, I was a hermetic mage who basically summoned elementals
Hmm.
and had my permanent services from elementals that I had. And so um and my spells were all themed to be like rock and sort of like because I was a rook, I was a castle, so I had a lot of earth-based spells. Um, so having defensive stuff
Hmm.
and be able to like actually summon up a chunk of stone to blast into someone's face. Um, that was the kind of thing there. So yeah, it has a great mix of genres, a big great mix of tones of the game, themes, and everything else there. So yeah, if you're looking for something different, I do highly recommend Shadowrun.
Yeah. Yeah. Shadowrun.
As as you can tell by this episode here.
Hmm.
Um, but we're getting close to time here. But so I do want to say, if you like this, if you're interested in it, systems highlighted. I may not know all of them, but I do know a bunch of them. Um, Ones that I've played, ones that I've run, and in the past we kind of talked about the different systems that I've played and run, um, we can definitely delve into some different versions here. I do plan at some point once I have a little more experience and I've got a little more time under my belt here, doing a Daggerheart deep dive because I am going to be running a Daggerheart game officially in a couple weeks, starting up.
Hmm.
So players are assembling. Yep, one or two more we need to kind of solidify there. But yeah, and so we'll see. Maybe in a few weeks or so, jump in there. Um, and just see some of the strengths and weaknesses, some of the fun and maybe not so fun. I'll, I'll go more with the fun because every game can be fun and
Hmm.
every system can work. There are very few that are just absolutely unplayable. They just have like strengths and weaknesses that may to be a little bit different from one to one from one game to the next.
Hmm. Hmm.
But so yeah, if you have a system you want to see showcased, you want to learn more about, throw us a comment. Come by the tavern there and post the question up there and make the suggestion. We'll definitely take a look and see what we can do. And who knows, if I don't know it very well, maybe we can go find somebody to help us out um, and help us with showcasing a system that we don't know, and maybe they can teach us.
There you go.
Um, yeah, so definitely a possibility. Um, but any last thoughts there, Nance?
No, just remember, guys, that the whole point of playing TTRPGs is to have fun. And if you're not having fun, what's the point of doing it? So even if your players are being a little newsome, just remember they're there to have fun and you're there to be their DM. And sometimes you may have to not be their favorite person. So have that in mind too. It's all about the fun,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yep. And challenging them, making them uh, jump through those hoops and everything else is all part of this, a part of the game.
Hmm.
So, well, in that case, we'll see you back here probably in a couple weeks there, unless something else comes up.
Hmm.
Um, but thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with us. As always, stop by the tavern. Drinks are on us, and we'll see what kind of games we can play. Have fun, folks. Bye.
Bye, guys.